Hi, good day, everybody. So, our discussion for today would be about defining, analyzing, and evaluating popular culture. So, from this moment forward, we are now going to be using theories and approaches which might have been discussed by your teachers in your EAPP or 21st century literature subjects, okay, during your grade 12. But we are now just going to reinforce it. But actually, before we jump to using the theories and approaches, we are still on the process of discussing what is popular culture. So, in this first batch of our video lessons, so we are just going to introduce first what is popular culture, its characteristics, its importance, and its functions. Okay, so yeah, so this is going to be our unit 2. So, let's now start our video presentation. Okay, so let's take a look at these examples. So let me introduce these to you and then try to think of words which you could associate to these examples. Okay, so by the way, really certain that you guys are familiar with these examples. Okay, so the first example is this one. Okay, so what do you think about this one? Okay, so next, do you know these two people? Okay, so next, do you know this group? So probably you already know who these people are. Okay, so now let's have our next batch of examples. Okay, so are you familiar with these people? So do you know kung saan sila nanggaling? How about this one? Are you familiar with them? Okay, so now that we saw those five examples, now let's have this question. So, what is common among these examples? So, like our first discussion, when I introduced culture to you, we try to associate a lot of words to culture, okay? So, we also provided some of the words that you may think of. So, for this one, let's try to think of the words which we can associate to those examples. Okay, sige, bibigyan ko kayo ng 5 seconds to think of a word which you could um, think of while looking at these examples. Okay? Tapos pagdating ng synchronous classes natin, if you ever participate, ayun, pwede nyong ibigay yung mga naisip ninyo ng mga words, okay? So, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, 0. So, ayun, if ever may mga naisip kayo na mga words na pwede nating i-associate dun sa 5 examples na yon, kindly comment on the chat box pagdating ng synchronous classes natin, or pwede rin naman na mag-unmute kayo and then you suggest. Okay? So, probably you have these words na pwede nyong i-associate such as, famous. Okay? So, since you all know or majority of you already know kung sino yung mga yon, yung mga tao na yon, at ano yung mga pinanggalingan nila mga palabas. So, it only shows that they are, of course, famous. What else? Okay, hindi masyado makita, pero ito ay trends. Okay? So, mga uso or at least nauso at some moment in time or some point in time. Okay? Next, we have media. Of course, we will not be able to be familiarized with those shows or with those people if not for the help of the media. Okay? So, probably you would answer, of course, media also. And lastly, we have likable. So, in the first place, di ba, parang a person or a show would not be famous if they are not well liked by people or if it's not likable. Okay? So sometimes not all famous things are likable. Sometimes sumisikat sila because of the hate, pero most of the time, 'di ba? Famous things, famous people, famous shows are likable. Okay? So pwede nating ma-associate itong word na to. Now, actually, those 5 examples are examples of popular culture. Okay? So, yung popular side, wala na tayong, wala na tayong question doon. Kasi alam natin talaga na sumikat talaga yung mga yon. As in, nag-trending talaga sila. So, let's now have a formal introduction to popular culture. But then again, I'm still recommending for everybody to please read and annotate our module. Okay? So, our module kasi, it's complete already. So, the PowerPoint presentation as well as the video lessons, these are only like a summary of what you can read from the module. The module is complete with like references, examples, definitions, whereas the PowerPoint presentation, I'm just getting like I think the most important parts of it, but I'm not including everything. Okay, so if you want to read more, if you want to be informed more, so I suggest that you would read the module and you would not only rely on our video lessons. And another repercussion of relying on the video lessons alone is we have, syempre, hindi naman ako madalas na nagvi-video lessons and sometimes nalilate yung ating mga video lessons. So, ayun, for those times na medyo nalilate yung mga video lessons natin, you have to read and annotate the module, of course. Okay, so that if you have any questions or any things that you would like to clarify pagdating ng synchronous classes natin, you can raise those questions again. So, okay? Now, going back, grabe yung segue natin. Okay, going back to our discussion. Okay, now let's introduce what popular culture is. Okay, so let's have popular culture defined as a culture that is extensively favored by many people. Okay, so again, extensively favored, meaning a lot of people like this. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, kaya nga siya nagiging popular, it's because it's well-liked by people. What else? Tends to reflect the interest of wide audiences or to intentionally target their preferences. Okay? So, kanina, sabi nga natin yung 5 examples, those are examples of course, popular culture. Now, if you can observe, they are from films or from television series or from like television segments. Okay? So, makikita natin, di ba, ang mga pelikula, pag sila ay pinoproduce or pag sila ay nilalabas or ginagawa, when you create films or television series or television segments, syempre, ano yung nasa isip ng mga producers? Kailangan, syempre, mag-produce sila ng isang bagay na magugustuhan ng mga tao, napapatok sa mga tao. Hindi naman sila magre-release ng film na hindi ma-appreciate or ng film na malulugi or ng TV series na hindi papanoorin. Laging yung pinapanood ng mga tao. And how can they do that? Of course, if they are going to target the preferences of the people, okay? Target the preferences of the audiences, okay? So you can see here that popular culture is the product of targeting the preferences of the audiences, okay? So, paano nila matatarget yung preferences? By what? By analyzing the interest of those people, okay? So, doon natin makikita yung popular culture. Talagang deeply linked siya dun sa mga audiences, okay? Next, popular culture is a fusion of ideas, things, actions, and circumstances that may effect changes in the belief, personality, and preference of an individual. Okay, so as we all know, 'di ba? Alam naman natin na ang popular culture or when something or someone is popular, ang nangyayari is yung ginagawa niya, yung style niya, ito yung nagiging parang standards ng way of living or even fashion or makeup or music taste or whatsoever. Okay? So, chances are, kapag popular yung isang bagay, anong nangyayari? Nababago niya yung perception ng tao, nababago niya yung demeanor ng mga tao. Okay? So, mamaya may mga examples tayo dyan. Okay? Pero pahapyaw lang, halimbawa, di ba si Yaya Dub or si Maine Mendoza, nung nauso yung talagang Aldab, di ba? So, dahil sikat na sikat sila, parang lahat ng tao ay maka-Aldab na rin, bumibili sila ng merchandise. Ang nangyari ay, nung si Maine Mendoza ay nauso yung kanyang lipstick na parang red na red yung lipstick niya, yung mga tao nagsisipag red lipstick na rin. What else? Nung si Yaya Dub ay nauso yung Dub Smash, ayun, nauso din. Halos lahat ng tao nagda-dub smash na rin. So, ibig sabihin, yung individual, nagbabago talaga siya. Depende sa kung ano yung uso. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, popular culture has this power to change an individual or effect change in an individual. Okay? So, now, let's take a look at this point. So, let's reinforce this point. Sabi nga natin, it tends to reflect the interest of wide audiences or to intentionally target the preferences. Okay, now let's have this television show. So, KMJS. So, Kapuso Mo, Jessica Soho. Alam naman natin na kada episode, kada segment ng Jessica Soho, ito ay talagang kaabang-abang, inaabangan ng mga tao, and very intriguing. Okay? So bakit? Kasi it's a part of popular culture again. So it what? It tends to reflect the interest of the people. Ano yung gusto ng mga tao, okay? And then pag na-determine nila kung ano yung gusto ng tao, they intentionally target it. That's why yun yung pinapalabas nila. Yung pinapalabas nila yung gustong makita ng mga tao, okay? Ang KMJS, hindi yan magpapalabas ng something which is boring that people would skip it or people would not like it, okay? So they always target to show or to exhibit these segments na nagpapakita na it's either intriguing or it's parang heartwarming or inspiring, ganyan, everything under the sun na magugustuhan ng mga tao, okay? So makikita natin na popular culture is like that. So examples nga nun ay television shows such as KMJS, okay? Next, let's have an example. So, is a fusion of ideas, things, actions, blah, 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 that effect changes. Okay? So, ito yung tinatawag ko na example kanina. So, yun nga, tingnan na lang natin yung K-pop. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, kaya nga siya, K-pop is Korean popular. So, ibig sabihin, popular culture sa Korea na naging popular culture na rin dito sa Pilipinas, na uso na rin sa atin. Okay? So, makikita natin, hairstyles. Okay, sa mga hairstyles, makikita natin na yung hairstyles natin dito sa Pilipinas, noon, very westernized. Halimbawa, yung mga lalaki naglalagay ng gel, ng wax, ganyan. Pero dahil nauso nga yung K-pop dito sa Pilipinas, it became a part of our popular culture. Anong nangyari, since yung mga K-pop artist ay pinapahaba yung buhok, and then sometimes they curl it, or pinapahaba nila yung buhok, tapos nagkakaroon sila ng bangs, and then they color it, yung mga lalaki nagiging gano'n na din. Unti-unti nagiging gano'n na din yung kanilang mga hair color, hairstyles, ganyan yung magupit nila, natutulad na rin dun sa mga idol nila. Same way, sa ating mga babae din, 'di ba? Yung mga hair colors before, like nung bata ako, nung high school ako, yung mga hair colors noon ay yun nga, blonde or brown or ombre, yung parang ano muna, black dito sa taas, tapos changing into yellow or brown habang bumababa, yung ganon. Okay, so yun yung mga colors ng hair. But then, nung nauso yung K-pop dito, syempre, yung mga Korean idols natin, sila ay ano nangyayari sa hair nila. Yung hair nila, very vibrant yung color, very booming yung color, such as yun nga, pink, red, purple, green, ganyan. So, they explore with these colors. Kaya noon, sa atin yung color ng hair, medyo close to natural color of hair. Pero ngayon, ayan, katulad niyan, nag-explore na tayo ng iba't ibang kulay. So, nagiging, nagkukulay na ng hair na pink, na red, ganyan. Depende dun sa mga ginagaya natin. So, again, kapag may sumisikat na bagay or may nagiging trend or may nagiging popular na mga bagay, anong nangyayari is, nag-i-effect sila ng change sa mga tao or sa mga individuals. Okay? So, yun po. So next, popular culture is a prevalent and well-known culture in most people that dictates what will be the trend for a certain period of time. So again, popular culture, although sometimes some trends or some popular cultures last for a long time, pero some of them die out. Okay? So nawawala din sila sa uso. Halimbawa na lang yung Aldab din, 'di ba? It's very phenomenal. It's a phenomenal love team na yun nga kauna-unahan sila na parang television segment na nagkaroon ng event sa Philippine Arena. So, ganun sila kasikat everywhere, maka-Aldab, 'di ba? Sobrang sobrang sikat nila noon. Pero ngayon, 'di ba, hindi na sila ganun kasikat. Kasi nga again, sometimes they only last for a certain period of time, but others are very classic. So katulad ng Itbulaga, ganyan, na ilang years na namamayagpag, 'di ba? So again, popular culture is of course trending and popular, but sometimes others die out earlier than others. Okay? So next, and again, it dictates what will be the trend. So depending on the popular culture, doon makikita kung ano yung magiging susunod ng mga uso. Okay? So this is a residue of the high culture or the elite culture, therefore highlighting it as a culture of the masses, particularly the working class. So popular culture is the culture of the masses. Kasi pag sinabi nating high culture or elite culture, ito yung mga pangmayayaman, okay? Mga pang higher classes in the society natin, okay? So anong ibig sabihin nun? konti lang yung mga tao na nakaka-afford na tumangkilik nung culture na yun. Kasi nga, it's for the elites eh. Sa bansa natin, ilan lang naman yung mayayaman, 'di ba? Maliit lang yung mundo ng mga mayayaman. Pero yung mundo ng working class, yung mga level natin, yung mga manggagawa natin, yon magkaka-level tayo. So, yung popular culture is yung kultura natin ng pangmasa. So, alam niyo yung salita na pangmasa, 'di ba? Iba siya dun sa pang-elite, iba din yung pangmasa. Halimbawa, yung mga high-end na mga restaurants, halimbawa mga aristocrats, ganyan, or yung mga hotels, yung mga restaurants sa mga hotels na 5-star hotels, 3-star hotels, 'di ba? So, na hindi ka makakapasok without reservation, without tapos yung iba cashless, so kailangan mo ng card, 'di ba? So, hindi ka makakapasok doon kung wala kang membership fee, yung mga ganong klaseng restaurants, okay? Yung mga restaurants na yon, iba din naman siya sa Jollibee kasi yung Jollibee pangmasa. Ibig sabihin, afford ng lahat. Okay? Or afford ng nakararami. So, ganun yung tinatawag natin. Para ganun siya. Yung popular culture, ito yung mga kultura or ito yung mga trends, mga popular features in our society na abot kamay ng masa, abot kamay natin, abot kamay ng madla. Okay? Whereas, yung elite culture, ito naman yung mga, syempre, kakaunti lang yung may kaya mag-afford. Mga mayayaman lang. Okay? So, bakit siya tinawag na residue? Kasi halimbawa, so mamaya madidiscuss din natin siya, pero halimbawa, may mga bagay na hindi maabot ng masa dahil pang-elite lang yon. Kaya ang nangyayari ay gumagawa sila ng alternative para makuha nila. So, mamaya madidiscuss natin yung about sa elite culture and yung sa popular culture. I-differentiate natin silang dalawa. Pero ayun nga. Pag sinabi natin popular culture, ito ay pangmasa. Abot ng lahat. Okay? And lastly, this is a culture influenced by mass consumption and commercialization. So, popular culture and capitalism, they work hand in hand actually. Okay? So, yung popular culture, ito din ay ginagawa para kumita. Okay? So, ginagawa din siya para kumita yung mga tao. Okay? So, it is made to be commercialized then in a way. Okay? Kasi nga, syempre, the more na mas maraming nanonood, the more nakikita kayo, okay? Kaya siyempre bilang mga negosyante, iga-grab niyo yung chance na mas maraming tao nag-a-avail, mas maraming tao na nakakapanood, siyempre mas madami kayong mapagbebentahan. So, parang gano'n yung idea niya sa popular culture. Okay, so ito na nga yung example natin. Residue of high culture or elite culture, therefore highlighting it as a culture of the masses. So, halimbawa, ito ay dalawang example ng pelikula. At ang pelikula naman, ang film, ay example po ng popular culture. So, actually, both of them are examples of popular culture. But the only difference is, etong pelikula na to, kung familiar kayo kasi konti lang talaga yung nanood nito. Actually, nasa MMFF siya, tas pinanood ko siya, tas iilan-ilan lang kami dun sa sinihan. Compared dito sa Enteng Cabezote, na ang haba-haba ng pila. Ganyan. Or yung mga pelikula ni Vice Ganda, hanggang sa likod yung pila, pero ito, ilan lang kami. Siguro, mga less than 30 lang kami nanood sa loob ng cinema. Okay, so, ang larawan kasi, ito ay theatrical performance. And we all know that theater, as in formal theater, yung theater talaga sa stage na pino-perform, okay? So, theater only caters few audiences. Not all people can appreciate theatrical performances, especially if it's being done in a theater talaga. Kasi the tickets would range from 800 pesos to 5,000 pesos depending on the seating. Okay? And not every Filipino can afford that. So, alam natin na ganun talaga yon. At konti lang talaga yung mga tao na kayang manood ng theater every month. Okay? Unlike ng films, na yung films pwede natin siyang gawin natin ay manood tayo kahit every once a month, manood tayo ng film, 'di ba? Kasi yung ibang mga film naman ang presyo ay 180 or 200, 'di ba? So ibig sabihin medyo abot kaya din siya ng mga Pilipino, or at least parang thrice a year makakapanood tayo ng sine. So ibig sabihin yung mga Pilipino, abot kamay nila, or yung masa, yung culture of the masses ito. So yung masa, kaya nilang i-afford yung mga pelikula. Or kung hindi man nila kayang i-afford, pero bad yon, pinapirate nila. So, dina-download na lang nila. So, ibig sabihin, hindi sila gumagastos, di ba? So, makikita natin siya, kultura siya ng lahat or kultura siya ng masa kasi kaya siyang abutin ng lahat. Unlike ng theater na mahirap siyang gastusan or mahirap siyang tangkilikin kasi nga sobrang mahal niya. Okay? So, doon natin makikita na since ang mga tao ay hindi nila ma-afford ang theater, ang mga theatrical performances, gumagawa sila ngayon ng alternative to theater performances, and that is film. Kagaya na lang ng ang larawan. So, ang larawan ay theatrical performance, pero ito ay hindi mo mapapanood sa theater. Ito ay pelikula na pwede mong panoorin, okay? Sa mas mababang presyo. Kaya siya tinatawag na um, culture of the masses, okay? So, kumbaga, bumababa yung quality niya kapag popular culture, okay? So, next. So, popular culture offers an escape to ordinary people by providing amusement to survive everyday life. So, again, popular culture provides entertainment for us to parang malibang tayo kasi nga ang buhay natin ay sobrang bigat na sa dami ng problema, mga gastusin, ganyan. So, popular culture helps us to cope with the hardships of our everyday life. That's why it provides entertainment. Kaya most of the time, if you observe popular culture, kadalasan ay puro nakalinya sa entertainment. Okay? Kasi again, meron siyang power to provide an escape. Next, popular culture has a didactic orientation or tendency to uplift morality. So, meaning, pag sinabi nating didactic orientation, it pertains to parang instilling or parang putting good concepts of morality in a person or in an individual. Okay? So, it uplifts morality. Pag sinabi natin na merong didactic orientation. So, mapapansin natin sa mga popular culture natin, films, television, di ba? Kahit na sobrang gulo ng storya, yung story ay puro tungkol sa mga kabit, puro tungkol sa mga kidnapan ng anak, mga patayan yung napapanood natin ng mga pelikula, pero laging nauuwi siya sa happy ending. Okay? Lalo na sa Pilipinas. Lagi siyang nauuwi sa parang nagbabati na yung mga character, parang ano na sila, okay na sila sa isa't isa, or happy ending, justice prevails, ganyan, nahuhuli kung sino talaga yung criminal or yung impostor, ganyan. Bakit? Kasi nga, it tends to uplift morality. So, popular culture also tends to give life lessons, okay, or morals to the viewers or the audiences, okay? So, ayun yung tinatawag natin na didactic orientation. And considered by some scholars to be a medium for Americanization. Kasi nga, 'di ba, most forms of popular culture ay deeply influenced by Americans kasi parang sa kanila halos lahat ng galing yung mga ano like variety shows, TV shows, mga contest sa TV, 'di ba? Parte 'yun ng popular culture. Pero makikita natin kasi yun kasi kadalasan nanggagaling din sa ibang bansa, nanggagaling sa Amerika. Sila yung nagpapauso ng mga ganun. Kaya tinatawag din sometimes popular culture is considered to be a medium for Americanization or parang creating these nuances about Americans. Okay, so parang in some way it affects changes into people to look up to Americans or parang the United States, ganyan. So, examples din, another examples ng popular culture, mga TV shows, again, Kambal Karibal, makikita natin, di ba? Sobrang daming conflict ng Kambal Karibal, parang di sila nauubusan ng problema. Pero ano nangyari? Happy ending pa rin yung dulo. So, matiwasay pa rin yung lahat. Bakit? Kasi merong didactic orientation. Halimbawa, may mga masasamang characters, pero meron pa rin silang time for redemption or to redeem themselves. Okay? So, despite all the bad things that they have done, so dumadating sila lagi sa punto that they realize the bad things that they have done and then they try to change for the better. So that's what we call as redemption. Now, why do we include redemption in the stories, especially in teleseries? Because again, popular culture has a didactic orientation. So it tends to uplift the morality. And next is what we have or what we call as again it provides escape for people. So, yun nga, di ba yung mga nanay natin, hirap na maghanda sa bahay, magligpit, magluto, ganyan. Pero makikita natin na nawawala yung stress nila. Parang pagdating ng showtime, pagdating ng mga noontime show, parang ano sila, parang nakakapag-relax sila. So, again, popular culture provides escape sa mga hardships natin in our daily lives, okay? Next is what we call as characteristics of popular culture. So, ano yung mga characteristic? Number one is, again, it's well-liked by people. It's inferior kinds of work. Pag sinabing inferior kinds of work, hindi naman ibig sabihin pangit, okay? Ang sinasabi lang niya dito is inferior siya compared to elite. Okay, elite culture. Kasi of course, elite culture, sinasala ito ng mga experts and tinatawag natin yung mga gumaganap dito is well-trained, ganyan, professionals. Pero yung mga popular culture, marami dyan mga extra or mga baguhan, ganyan. Kaya parang tinutukoy siya minsan na inferior siya compared to elite culture. Okay, next, deliberately intended to win the favor of the people. Again, ang habol nila ay yung pagsang-ayon ng madla and made by the people for themselves. Bakit siya tinawag na made by the people for themselves? Because popular culture is made by people to be enjoyed by people and to be enjoyed by everybody. Okay? So, next, made to be commercialized. Pag sinabing made to be commercialized, pinagkakakitaan din siya. Transgressive in its categories. So, pag sinabing transgressive, ito naman ay parang it challenges the norms. It challenges the norms. It tries to change your view on morality. Tapos parang medyo, kakaiba to kasi wala pang nag-exist na ganito before. So, it's like a challenge, okay? Next, disseminated with the use of technology. So, with the use of media, katulad nga sabi ko kanina. And lastly, it's subjected to notions of sadomasochism. Pag sinabi natin sadomasochism, ito naman yung kahit na nahihirapan ka na, tinatangkilik mo pa rin siya or gusto mo pa rin siya, okay?